Toastmaster Charles Huckabee. Charles is past president and a long, elongated time member. Charles is a financial advisor, and he's right here in Winter Park. And the title of Charles' speech is, "Show me the money."
Good morning, Toastmasters. I don't think that introduction has changed in 20 years. So, what does a dictator and a despot do as soon as he amasses his fortune? He looks for a stable democratic economy somewhere in the world to park his money. He looks for a stable currency. Well, the whole goal coming out of World War II was to stabilize currencies. The Bretton Woods monetary system is what we're working on today, loosely. And it established the dollar as a reserve currency, meaning Americans can go anywhere in the world and exchange their money for the local currency. Wherever you go, 90% of countries in the world they're on the currency exchange system, and we can exchange our currencies. Well, both wars, all the wars in the 20th century were because of monetary manipulation and economic terrorism from one country to another. Primarily, England. Yes, those English. They were the reserve currency throughout the empire, and after World War II, no more. They were broke. So, the central banking system was established. Central banks' sole purpose is to control the economy and stabilize currencies. The Fed is our central bank. The EU has a central bank. Every country has a central bank who has their own currency. So the central bank's job is to control the flow of money, stabilize that money so the dollar doesn't fluctuate wildly, and we don't have inflation like we have right now. Why am I telling you this? Well, we all see what's happening in Ukraine right now. Putin's war. Well, this is heartbreaking, to say the least. You can't watch it, but you know what's going on. The devastation and the carnage that's happening is heart-rending, angering, and we are all hoping that this is not an elongation kind of war. So, why am I bringing up this despot, this dictator? Well, I'll tell you why. Right now, Putin has about $650 billion in reserves. Of that, $150 billion is in gold, which is illiquid. It can't be exchanged. The other is in, the $450 billion is in euros. About 10% of it's in dollars. Now, when you park money in another country's currency, that can be invested in land, currency, savings, actually in the banks. So you have the central bank, and then you'll have all the banks underneath that. And they borrow money and give money back and forth to each other. So when I park $500 billion in euros, some of that's in the banks, and some of it's invested. Usually in something that's fairly liquid, meaning it can be sold readily. Well, after the last, when Putin took over Georgia, the state, or the country of Georgia, just south of Russia, we froze his bank accounts. He had about 90% of his money in dollars. Well, for the last decade, he's been moving his money from dollars to euros. He was never going to let that happen again. He's been planning this for a decade. Well, he also thought he's been hoarding gold, so Every despot and dictator likes gold. The problem with gold is you can't carry it around in your wallet, and it's not very easily converted. So what happened? Well, when he invaded Ukraine, we slapped sanctions on him. And for the first time since World War II, first time ever, Switzerland froze his bank accounts, and the Euro Central Bank froze his bank accounts. This war is costing him $20 billion a day. So he's got $200 billion of which he has control over. Well, his ruble is now a fraction of what it was, the value of it. So Putin's whole system was, and his plan was, he's got the oligarchs. Everybody's heard of what he's got, the oligarchs, which these are his henchmen. These are the mob bosses that run major industries, mainly in Russia, but all over the world. And half of their money, when they say this guy's worth $50 billion, $25 billion of that is Putin's money. So when Putin established himself as president, de facto president of Russia, all of these guys share 50% of their money with him. Well, these guys are not about to go against him. They'll end up swimming with the fishes if they do. So they do what he says. So his plan was to call in part of his money when and if that happens. Well, these guys were all getting frozen too. I can't stress enough how important it is when Switzerland, which has always been the neutral, money pirate, opaque banking system of anybody in the world who wants to hide money, they have participated, they're now participating in what's happening. So why am I telling you this? Well, in my opinion, this will be a short-lived war. It won't be elongated because he's running out of money. He's running out of money now. The long queue of tanks and trucks outside of Kiev, which is supposedly 20 miles long, they're out of fuel. He's going to run out of money to pay his troops. And what happens when you don't have your money to pay your forces? They're no longer your forces. So now Vladimir Putin is saying, show me the money, and there's no money to show it. So pray for the people of Ukraine, and let's keep the hope up. Thank you very much.